General Hospital icon Maurice Benard issues heartbreaking health update and hints at immediate retirement. Port Charles had always survived storms, mob wars, miracle returns, long-lost twins, and Cassadine curses, but nothing prepared the town, or the fans watching around the world, for the storm that was brewing quietly behind the scenes. For weeks, viewers sensed something was off. Sonny Corinthus seemed slower, softer, quieter. His lines were shorter. His scenes were fewer. His eyes carried a different weight, less fiery mob boss, more weary man carrying invisible battles. Rumors swirled across social media. Is Maurice sick? Why is Sonny barely on screen? Is Maurice Benard leaving General Hospital? Nobody had answers. Not yet. Maurice Benard, the man who had embodied Sonny Corinthus for over 3 decades, stayed silent. But silence from a man known for honesty was louder than any revelation. Something was wrong, terribly wrong. It was a quiet Friday morning on set. Most of the cast had already arrived for blocking. Cameras were being calibrated. Scripts rustled. The usual chaos hummed through the studio, a comfortable, familiar noise. Maurice walked in, slower than usual. The crew noticed immediately. He always entered like a storm, joking, laughing, greeting every person by name. But today his steps were careful. Controlled. One hand rested on the side of the wall as though steadying himself. Laura Wright, Carly, rushed to him first. "Hey, you good?" she asked softly, reading his face with the instinct of someone who knew him for years. Maurice forced a smile. "Just tired, that's all." But Laura saw it. So did Steve Burton. So did Wally Quirth, who paused with his coffee in midair, eyebrows raised in concern. Maurice reached the dressing room, closed the door, and didn't come out. Minutes stretched. Then 15. Then 20. The stage manager knocked gently. "Maurice? You okay?" No answer. Steve Burton didn't wait. He pushed open the door and found Maurice sitting on the couch, breathing heavily, hand pressed against his forehead. "Talk to me," Steve said quietly, kneeling beside him. "I don't know what's happening," Maurice whispered. "But it's getting worse." For years, Maurice had been open about his mental health journey. Bipolar disorder, anxiety, depression. He had inspired millions. But this was different. The last month had been brutal. Dizzy spells. Fatigue. Panic attacks hitting out of nowhere. Migraines so severe he couldn't open his eyes. Days where he forgot lines he'd rehearsed a dozen times. He had hoped it was temporary. He was wrong. Doctors ran tests. More tests. Then even more. They didn't yet know if the cause was neurological, stress-related, or something far more dangerous, something that could change everything. Maurice kept filming despite the symptoms. He tried to be strong. He didn't want to worry fans. He didn't want to worry the cast. But every day it got harder. And today was the breaking point. Steve squeezed his shoulder. "You don't have to push through this alone." Maurice closed his eyes. "I don't think I can keep going like this." By afternoon, executive producer Frank Valentini gathered the cast who were present. "We're postponing today's shoot," Frank announced. "Maurice needs rest." The room went silent. Not even a whisper. Kelly Monaco covered her mouth. Chad Duell looked stunned. Cynthia Watras, Nina, blinked rapidly, her eyes filling. No one dared to ask questions. Frank continued, voice tight with emotion. "He'll update the fans himself when he's ready." This alone told them everything. Maurice had never postponed filming. Not once in 30 years. Not during injuries, not during personal tragedy, not during the darkest periods of his mental health battles. If Maurice was stepping back, it was bad. Later that night, after talking with family, doctors, and the GH team, Maurice sat alone in his living room. The house was quiet. The air felt heavy. His phone buzzed with messages. "You okay, brother?" "Steve. I'm here if you need to talk." "Laura. Thinking of you." Afinola Hughes. "You're strong. Whatever this is, you'll get through it." Eden McCoy. He read them through blurred vision. He knew what he needed to do. After decades of carrying a character that changed his life, he would now carry something else, the responsibility of telling the truth, and the possibility of saying goodbye. Maurice opened Instagram Live and stared at the screen for a long moment before hitting start. He appeared on camera looking pale, tired, and unfamiliar to fans who knew every detail of his face. He cleared his throat, but emotion tightened his voice. Hey guys, it's Maurice.
Thousands of viewers joined instantly. He took a deep breath. I've been struggling. More than you know. Things lately have been bad.
Really bad.
Comments exploded.
What's wrong? Are you leaving GH? Please tell us you're okay.
Maurice continued. I've always said I'd be honest with you. So here it is. I've been dealing with some serious health issues.
We don't have all the answers yet, but it's affecting my ability to work, to memorize lines, to even stand some days.
Silence on the stream.
The kind of silence that feels like grief.
He swallowed hard. I never thought I'd say this, but I might need to step away from General Hospital.
Maybe temporarily. Maybe.
His voice cracked.
Maybe permanently.
He closed his eyes as emotion washed over him.
I don't want to retire. God, I don't. But I have to be honest, if things don't get better, I might not have a choice. Within minutes, the entire soap world shattered. Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, TikTok, flooded with shock, heartbreak, and prayer emojis. #Stand with Maurice. #Sunny Corinthus forever. #GH family. Fans posted clips of Sunny's greatest scenes. Tributes poured from celebrities, co-stars, even former castmates.
Vanessa Marcil wrote.
He carried Sunny, Brenda, and the entire show on his back for decades. We stand with you.
Nancy Lee Grahn tweeted. Maurice Benard is the soul of GH.
We move forward with love and support, not fear.
Even Mark Hamill posted.
Sending strength to Maurice Benard, a warrior on and off screen. The soap community rallied like never before.
But the question echoing everywhere was the same.
Is Sunny Corinthus leaving Port Charles forever? The next day on set felt heavier than a funeral. The Corinthus coffee warehouse set stood dark. The Metro Court felt strangely empty. Even the hospital set seemed quieter than usual. Laura Wright gathered with the cast. I can't imagine Port Charles without Sunny, she said, voice trembling.
Steve Burton agreed.
This is bigger than the show.
This is his life.
Frank Valentini had an emergency meeting with ABC executive.
Options were discussed. Reduce Maurice's scenes. Bring in temporary stand-ins. Write Sunny out gently.
Create a storyline mirroring Maurice's struggle. Or prepare for a full exit. The last option was too painful to even speak aloud. ABC didn't want Sunny gone. Maurice didn't want to leave.
Fans certainly didn't want to lose him.
But health wasn't negotiable. Over the next week, Maurice stayed home under doctor supervision.
Some days he improved. Some days he couldn't get out of bed. Headaches worsened. Panic attacks intensified. His heart raced unpredictably. His memory faltered. He recorded no podcast episodes. He cancelled all public appearances. He stayed mostly off social media. But the world waited. For news. For hope. For anything.
Even GH scripts were rewritten daily, the writers scrambling to adjust entire storylines.
Carly's arc changed. Jason's arc changed. Ava's arc changed.
Every Corinthus-related plot went on pause. Port Charles revolved around Sunny, and without him, the writers felt unmoored. One evening, Steve Burton drove to Maurice's house without warning. I don't need cheering up, Maurice muttered when Steve entered.
I don't care. Steve sat down.
I just came to be here.
For 2 hours, they talked. About fear. About exhaustion. About legacy.
About what happens when a man who's always been strong finally has to face fragility.
Steve finally asked the question no one else dared.
Are you thinking about retiring, for real?
Maurice didn't answer for a long time. Finally he whispered.
I'm thinking about not waking up one day and letting the world hear I pushed too far.
Steve froze. That's why I'm thinking about leaving GH, Maurice said. Because I want to live.
The soap world exploded again when a fan group organized the Keep Maurice Benard movement. They created petitions, tribute videos, TikTok edits, fundraising for mental health charities in his honor. Thousands signed messages like, General Hospital without Sunny isn't General Hospital. Your health comes first, but please know you are loved.
You saved us.
Let us save you now. Maurice read the messages, tears filling his eyes. That's the thing, he told his wife Paula. I don't want to disappoint them.
You're not disappointing anyone, she said gently.
You're fighting for yourself. But Maurice had always seen himself as the fighter for others. Now the world was fighting for him. A week after his announcement, Maurice went back to the doctor for new results. The news wasn't catastrophic, but it wasn't good either. Stress-induced neurological complications. Anxiety-based autonomic dysfunction.
Severe chronic fatigue.
None life-threatening, but all life-altering. The doctor looked him in the eyes. You need a long break. Months.
Not days. Maurice exhaled slowly.
Can I keep acting?
Eventually. But right now?
If you push yourself, things will get worse.
There it was.
The truth.
Clear and devastating. That evening, Maurice dialed Frank. Frank answered instantly. How are you? Maurice didn't sugarcoat it.
The doctor says I need time off.
Real time. Not a week.
Not 2.
Frank was quiet.
I don't want to quit, Maurice continued. But
I can't keep going like this. Frank's voice cracked.
Take all the time you need.
Sonny's not going anywhere.
We'll figure it out. Even if I need months. Even if you need a year.
Maurice closed his eyes.
Relief and grief swirled together.
Thank you, he whispered.
The next morning, Maurice posted a video message. Things are getting too bad for me to work right now. I'm taking a break.
A long one.
I don't know when I'll be back, but I want to be back. I have to put my health first. I hope you'll understand.
Thank you for all your love. It means everything.
The world responded with an outpouring not seen in soap history.
Even non-GH fans left comments.
The entire entertainment industry stood still. Maurice Benard, the legend, was stepping away.
For the first time in decades.
GH filmed one last scene with Maurice before he took his break.
A quiet moment. No guns. No mob wars. No chaos.
Just Sonny sitting alone on the pier at night, staring at the water, reflecting silently. Jason approached him. You okay?
Jason asked softly. Sonny took a breath.
I think
I need to disappear for a while.
Jason nodded with the weight of knowing this wasn't scripted. This was real. This isn't goodbye.
Sonny looked out at the harbor lights and whispered.
I hope not.
Fade to black. The studio fell silent.
The cast gathered around Maurice, hugging him tightly.
Some cried. Some held his hands.
Some simply stood close, unwilling to let go.
Maurice looked around at his GH family and whispered. I'll be back. I just need time to heal.
While Maurice stepped away, GH prepared to honor him, not replace him. Writers built a storyline explaining Sonny's temporary exit.
Fans kept hope alive.
And Maurice focused on healing, physically, mentally, emotionally.
He wasn't gone. He wasn't done.
He was just choosing life over work, health over pressure, survival over sacrificing himself for the sake of the show. In the end, Maurice Benard was teaching his most powerful lesson yet. Even the strongest men need rest. Even legends must heal. And even icons have the right to step back and survive.
Will Maurice Benard return? Will Sonny Corinthos reclaim Port Charles?
Will this be a temporary pause, or the beginning of a new chapter?
No one knows. Not even Maurice. But one thing is certain. The world stands with him. The fans adore him.
And General Hospital will never be the same. Not because he left, but because of the impact he made.
For now, the story remains open-ended. Sonny Corinthos lives. Maurice Benard fights on.
And the world waits for the day he feels strong enough to return. Until then,
this isn't goodbye. It's hope.